What's up, folks? Welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. Jonathan Otto is back. And let me tell you, Jonathan, I am so glad I met you. I gotta say, like this device has changed my life and I'm gonna say in the way that I couldn't have expected. Like I feel great, dude. I feel like I have charged energy all day long. I'm getting up at 5 in the morning. I never used to do that. 5 in the morning, like a spring chicken. I'm jumping up. I'm feeling good all day long. I'm using the device a couple times a day sometimes now. So this is just, I know I'm reaping the benefits, man. My hair is getting thicker. My skin feels more elastic, less wrinkles. I'm feeling good. And this is probably the one product that I am most impressed with, bro. So hats off to you, man. Hats off to
Bro.
you. Seriously.
Oh, dude, thank you. That touches me. It really does, man.
Well, it's I don't I don't bullshit, and my audience
I know
knows
you
that,
don't.
and I when I feel compelled to say something like that, I mean it. So this stuff I think is the future of medicine, man. Folks, if you don't know what we're talking about, it's red light therapy. Basically everything you get from the sun and more. Uh,
Yeah.
and you think about everything they used to tell us about sunblock and this and that, and it's almost like they didn't want you really knowing about the benefits of the sun. I don't know. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining me.
Bro, welcome, man. Thank you. Thank you for just being you and being the truth teller that you are. And I love that. And for me, one of the things that really just motivates me is seeing people like you that are doing such great work in the world and touching lives that you've got the help you need to do what you do. And I remember you complaining about the pain in your back when you're sitting and doing interviews, which you don't have anymore now.
Well, it's always still going to be there. I'm not going to just jump all the way in, but it's always going to be there. I got plates and metal screws and rods in there, which suck. But dude, like the way I've been, that used to take away 60% of my energy, man. Like it used to just be like it used to drag me down, and now. I wake up with a purpose. I feel good. I'm ready to work. I'm ready to go at it. I'm ready to go to the gym. I used to be sluggish going to the gym. I'm not sluggish going to the gym anymore. This thing is doing something, but I'm taking a lot of supplements with it. But this one thing, I love to lay under it on the couch, and I fall asleep like if it's a tanning bed.
Stand.
The what?
Stand?
Yeah, the ball punches. It's not helped the punches to the head yet, bro. But the stand, right? And man, I'm just like I just fall asleep under it, and I feel so great. Like I
Yeah.
just the warm feeling. It's pretty damn amazing. So.
That's awesome. And then just from memory, just so what you had told me is that you would sit for interviews and then you had an excuse the way you could say, "Hey man, my back's sore, I got to
Yeah.
go." But you would tell me I can't even use that excuse anymore because it's
No,
not true now.
it's true.
So I remember that. So that's awesome. And it's a journey. Like you're actually only about 6 months in. And just imagine what the next couple of years are gonna look like and the possibility of a complete remission of pain in that regard. So it's just anyway, it's awesome.
So, like the people that are just coming on, you got inundated with orders. I know you did. Like people were
Yeah.
ordering like crazy. They were flying off the shelf like pancakes, and you were behind on the orders. Can you clarify that with my audience now?
Oh yeah,
You caught
absolutely.
up, and
So
you're only still just a fraction behind, correct? But they
oh
look
yeah,
at their orders.
exactly. Yeah, well, actually, at the time of this interview airing, where everything is fulfilled. But I could tell you what I told you just before we got on the phone. It's around 1,300 from your audience. It's an example, just speaking directly to everyone that listened to a show and then use the code Nino, for example.
Wow.
And of those 1,300, up until the moments before this interview, because I know that well, I know when this is airing, or it was 70 outstanding out of the 1,300, and so, but they're all set to scheduled to ship right
Okay.
now, as in today or tomorrow. But then those tracking numbers will go out to those individuals, and so we're completely clear on all that, which is awesome. And so, but anyway, I'm just so grateful because we blew up because it was so popular because of the results that people were getting, and it is such a unique device. It's the only one of its kind, but the thing there was just that we just desperately wanted to serve people. We didn't realize how big that would become. And I'm just so grateful for all the loyal people there. And yeah, so people can have like, solid awareness on when to expect their devices and all that. And we're very clear in that communication. And yeah, things are way more streamlined and everything is going smoothly now, which is awesome.
So how does this science work, man? Break it down because I see a panel with the red lights and people just looking at this might be like, oh, whatever, snake oil salesman. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what they would think. How can light help anybody? How does it's frequency. And it's the way your skin absorb it at a cellular level, correct?
Yeah.
Can you explain this to my audience? I'll let you break it down. I'll let you have the floor to
Okay.
explain how this thing works because the panel behind you, I noticed you have the panel behind you. That's a
Yeah.
smaller panel. Obviously, I
Yeah.
have the bigger ones at my house that you sent me.
Yeah.
But that works fine because I have a smaller one as well that I take with me on road trips. So if staying at a hotel, motel, whatever, I pull it out, plug it in, and I stay in front of it for about 25 minutes. You can even do 10 minutes. I've noticed whatever I can get out of it is fine.
Yeah.
And I feel it throughout the whole day, and I feel good. I feel energized. Um, so
Yeah.
you suggest the bigger panels, but to travel, you would probably use something like you have there.
Exactly, which is what I'm doing because I'm at a friend's house here in San Juan in Puerto Rico, and so I had this actually in my car and just pulled it out and plugged it in, and I was helping a friend here whose mom has dementia, and so anyway, that was yeah, but the reason why, if you can, it's best to have one that covers you from head to groin is exactly because that's where the concentration of all your vital organs are, and so your head and your brain is getting affected while if you're a man, your testicles.
Gonads are.
Yeah, exactly. And this is an important area. Like if you want to increase your sexual health, your nitric oxide production, then look at systemic all the way from head to groin. And but same with women with various reasons throughout their organs, just like men. So that's certainly ideal. But people can do whatever they can get access to because in every case it's going to have a dramatic benefit because red light feeds the mitochondria, which brings me to the answer to that question. Like, how does it work, right? So, which is what you're asking. So, you have these tiny organelles called mitochondria, and they surround the nucleus, and they're in your organ cells, and they are responsible for the energy of the cells. So without having to make you a biologist right now and to understand things that kind of get you a little confused, it's so simple. It's just cellular energy. And
Light
when you're
energy. Light energy.
yeah, exactly. So, when these cells generate energy, they produce substances that are fluorescent, like ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate, which phosphorus means bringer of light. So it actually produces fluorescent substances. Your cells do it inside of
Wow.
the body.
Your
It's really cool,
cells
right?
actually do that. They've documented this.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
There's
insane.
yeah, triphosphate is, and phosphorus. These are fluorescent substances. And like take for example, singlet oxygen is another example. That's a reactive oxygen species that's produced by red light and N light therapies, and that is fluorescent. It's burning red fluorescent red, and it's so powerful that they use it in military settings to shoot missiles that are airborne. It's not commonly used, but it has been used, and your body naturally produces this singlet oxygen. So what do you think that does to the big C word? And
Yeah.
that's why some of the studies that I'll
And folks, you know
show.
what we're saying when we see the big C word, the disease C,
Hmm.
that a lot of people are battling right now and losing battles to this C,
Yeah.
the big C.
Hmm.
Um, so you're saying that we can't say it cures it, but
No,
it puts it in
I
What,
can't
what
say
does it
that.
do? Yeah, I don't
No,
want to say
sure.
anything and get us in trouble.
Well, yeah, sure. I'll say that you just talk about the process and what has been documented, and then I'll show the studies on this. So this is cool. So this has got a timer on it, so it's talking to us here, but I can change that timer so it can just stay here. But so the thing here is, which means that if you fall asleep under it, that it will
It'll
time
turn off
out
on itself.
versus stay on, or like some of the issues with these saunas that they can start fires because the bulbs are so hot, and then you might forget to turn it off or something like that. So it's like really cool with the safety there. But anyway, so the mechanism that is with something like the big C word, which is really important because we've all got loved ones. Like there's not a single person I know of that doesn't have someone they know of
Dude,
that,
it's
that's very
rampant.
exactly, and it's getting worse, and all of this, and then like for example, some of the things that you were struggling with, Nino, I would say were precursors, and but everyone, even if it's just like major fatigue, because there's an energy production issue, which shows that there's a mitochondrial issue, which shows a stem cell issue, et cetera, et cetera. So then you just start correcting this at a cellular level, and all of a sudden you've really got to the root of things, and you feel amazing, and then your risks for these things, from my research, go down dramatically. So the mechanism is that the electromagnetic waves cause the body to produce reactive oxygen species. And it's all to do with how it's oxygenating the cells, because it's an oxygenating effect. Even though you're looking at light, you'd say, how is light and oxygen connected here? It's causing the cellular respiration, which is actually the breathing of cells, which is super cool to think about. And this is the most critical aspect.
Food for the cells.
So, yeah, yes.
It's food for the cells. I mean,
cell. So
you
even
think
more
about like
important
eating,
than
right?
food.
But this is light is, if not more important.
Well, light is creating an oxygenation effect for the cells, which is causing the actual respiration, which is the breathing of cells. So your cells are actually needing oxygen more than anything else. It's the reason why. How long could you live without food? How long could you live without water? How long could you live without oxygen? And that shows you how critical oxygen is for your cells. And if your cells have oxygen, they'll actually clear out the bad things and support the good things. In this case, they'll actually they create apoptosis of big C word cells. And then you will give way to that oxygen fueling healthy cells to thrive and flourish and get what they need to perform function. And in the case of nitric oxide, the cells produce this. But anyway, just think about it broadly as cells produce energy. When they produce energy, they can detoxify, and that's what they do best without you having to take all these things, which I'm still a believer in. But they will naturally do this, and so they clear out, like, the thyroid cells will actually, the mitochondria, there's thousands of mitochondria per thyroid cell, per brain cell, per heart cell. There's hundreds of thousands of mitochondria in each cerebellum cell in your brain. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is why you start feeling energy, because it's going through your eyes, hitting the cerebellum. And this is why.
But you shouldn't open your eyes when you're doing this, right? Or do you do it? I don't know. You do it. I've seen
There are
you
clinical
do it.
studies showing, yes. There's clinical studies showing that 3 minutes in the morning improved eyesight by 17%.
Okay, so I don't do that. Maybe I should do that because my eyesight's not that great.
Yes,
Used to be like a hawk, man.
Yeah, mine's perfect 2020, but you did see some improvement from what you told me, but yeah, the fact that you haven't had your eyes open, but it has to be in the morning, yeah. So anyway, that's super interesting, and you have to be over 40 for that particular benefit to be in myopia to be discovered. But we've seen like even more amazing things than that in like 90-year-olds, which is super cool.
That's insane. Yeah, I'm having my dad do it now. He just went to the heart doctor and they gave him a clean bill of health, which I don't know if this, I'm not going to say this has anything to do with that panel, but I've been doing that with my father. So I'm like, dude, you don't have to sell me on this. Let me ask you this. How
What
close
happened
do
to
you,
your dad?
oh, he's 90.
No,
That's
yeah,
what
exactly.
happened.
But what was the positive outcome for your dad?
Well, he was having seizures and stuff, but he's on medicine, but he's been very good. Knock on wood, man. He's been doing a lot better. He's had 3 open heart bypass surgeries, a valve transplant. He's had a bad heart his whole life, but we just took him to the heart doctor yesterday, and he said, "Hey, man, it's looking good right now." So God, prayers are working.
Wow.
Most of it has to be the prayers to me. So
Yeah, there you
and
go. You always give
and my
God credit.
mom's symptoms of she's slowed down a little bit first, like I said though, but I don't want to say anything because I don't want to jinx anything. And knock on wood, it's in God's hands. But
Yeah.
so let's move on. So
Yeah.
the red light panel, like you have it, I see kind of sitting back from you a little bit. Do you leave it on like that, or do you?
No.
Do you? I've heard you say you have to have it 3 inches to 6 inches close to you.
Yeah, ideally, for sure. Like if you want to get the best benefit, because like time is money or whatever, and however you want to think about it. So I'm gonna, try to get the best benefit out of that. 3 inches is ideal because that's where it has the highest irradiance, which is the amount of milliwatts delivered per centimeter squared. And in this case, the device that you're using is over 205 milliwatts per centimeter squared, which is super high. That's the top, right? And so often devices have maybe 50 or 100, and then because of that, it's minimum strength. It's not really helping to that nth degree. And then you're talking about 9 different wavelengths at the same time as well. So which we'll kind of discuss why that's important. But all those different benefits you're seeing, it's interacting with different parts of your body, with your bones, with your dermis, epidermis, subcutaneous tissue, etc.
So, what does it do to the fat cells? Because I'm noticing, like, I've upped my cardio. That could be part of it. I'm not going to say it's just this thing, but I've been doing sprints on the treadmill, and I've been really, which, hey, by the way, I haven't been able to do for a long time. And
Wow.
I've been doing that, and I've been really kicking it in the ass with that. But does this do something to that melts fat cells or something like that? Is that
Yeah.
what I've heard? Is that what you guys are saying here? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. It does. Like I would not say these things if it didn't, because I like to tell people like, here's what you can
right,
expect, here's what you don't expect, and just change your diet, which is great. But the clinical studies were showing that without people changing their diets, which I think they should do most times. I
right.
mean, like, unless your diet's amazing, it was 6 inches in 5 weeks, which is awesome, just to start with. But there's reasons for it, and there's lots of reasons. One is the water retention. So it's a form of edema, and so you think it's just weight, but it's actually water retention, and it's connected to toxicity. And so, because you can interact with that, that's part of the reason why you have rapid weight loss, but it's not because of
So it's water. It's releasing water, basically.
exactly. And yeah, because that water is some of these processes in the body are all to do with the toxicity having to get dealt with in a way that the body can now keep you alive. So it's padding you out, and you're like, yeah, I don't like this aesthetically. I want this to go away. And it's saying, yeah, well, we don't like these toxins, and so we got to do what we got to do, buddy. And so so if you deal with the root, which is it's doing both of those things. It's quieting down the inflammation that's on the surface, but then it's also helping to deal with the toxicity because it's helping the cells just go through natural detoxification. And that's what I was mentioning before with the thyroid cells. They'll actually go detoxify the halogens and the bromine and the chlorine and the fluoride, and they'll actually go and do those processes as well as produce T3, T4, the thyroid hormones that are most people are lacking, especially women. And then, so they just start working. Functions improve as well as removal of toxins is dramatically improved.
So I've talked to doctors, and then one doctor specifically told me that, man, you're going to see light therapy. There's going to be it's going to be the biggest type of therapy there is, and I'm already seeing it in clinics. I'm already
Wow.
seeing it like the red light therapy. People have to pay like 80 to 100 bucks to go use these things. Have you seen this?
Oh
Obviously,
yeah.
obviously. I mean, but
Yeah,
like
yeah,
even here in El Paso, they have clinics where you have to pay. And El Paso is a cheap city, but you still have to pay like 50 bucks to go in there and just sit for like 15 minutes in front of this thing. Exactly those panels.
yeah.
So why not have it at your house where you can use it every day, right?
It's so true, man. Yeah. Because because there's only a matter of time until you're going to fall off doing
Yeah,
that to
yeah.
me. Like, because ever kind of stayed the course even with
I
one
can't
single
even
supplement?
I can't even go to a tanning bed. Bro, I do it for like the first 3 weeks, and after that I'm like, whatever, I'm done. I don't do it for the rest of the summer. But I'll do the first 3 weeks gung ho like everybody
Yeah.
else, and I'll do the tanning bed stuff. But having this next to my bed, I'm doing it every day because it's right there.
Yeah, exactly. And you're the one that could validate a lot of excuses. You've got like a top 100 podcast.
Yeah, I
You know,
don't know
ev-
how that
ev-
happened.
good job, man. Congratulations. We sure give Nino props for that. He's worked hard for
Thank
it.
you.
But yeah, but notice, and I use this to underscore the fact that you have chosen not to make excuses for your health. You're still actually doing it. And I know I've sent these devices to other friends and colleagues, and they've sat in boxes. And so, but you set it up. Once it's there, you start turning it on, and you like actually just create an environment where it's very hard to just say, look, I'm not willing. It's not worth it anymore. I hate feeling bad, and it's just this easy about turning it on. If I had my shirt off right now, I'd be getting benefit even being this far away. And like, what did I do? Nothing. I just pressed the
Yeah, I'm
button.
sure
So
all the chicks right now are like, "Oh, take it off, take it off." But
I
like, but seriously, just like you brush your teeth in the morning
yeah,
and you do all the things you have to do in the morning, do some red light, 10, 15, 20 minutes. If you can, whatever, 5 minutes, five
yeah,
minutes is benefit, right? I've done it for 3 minutes before.
yeah, yeah. It's so true. And then you stack those scenarios like $80, $200 a session. It's between there. The medium range is 80 to 200 per session. And then you got to kind of go, well, I can't do it exactly every day, and I got to wait in line. And so then you're looking at all the costs. And then for a month, then you're looking at a few $1,000s, depending. Even if you did it twice a week, you're looking at a couple thousand. Then for the year, it just goes so expensive. Now you're talking, now span this out over now years, you're talking about dollars a month, a few dollars a month if you span out your device over several years, because that's what you're going to use it for. So now do the math, and like it's cheaper than anything. It's cheaper than supplements. Like, how do people justify not doing this and waiting for problems to happen? Like, how precious are your organs to you? And they're filled with mitochondria. Your liver is filled with mitochondria. Your kidneys are filled with mitochondria. Your thyroid, your brain, and your heart. And what are you doing to feed them? Like, what are you doing to like put fuel in their tank so they can perform function? If you're not doing something that's doing that, then you're waiting for
I'm
problems.
wondering if a lot of people are talking about the med beds coming and all this. I'm wondering if it has to do with any kind of light therapy.
Well, if it doesn't, I think it's missed the mark and it's not real.
Yeah. I mean, this is like common sense to me. So I
Yeah,
know you got some graphs and like some stuff to
yeah.
show,
I'll show you.
yeah, so people can see this visually.
Yeah, absolutely. I want you to
All
see
right.
this because you asked about,
Hashimoto. What is this?
well, this is about like you talked about weight loss, and here's the clinical study here, right? But this is to do with thyroid. So, a lot of the women watching, the reason why I say women is that women at a 10-to-1 ratio, it's 10 women for every one man is suffering from Hashimoto's or hypothyroidism, right? So it's so important. It's such a sensitive gland. Most
Hashimoto's.
people,
It's
yeah.
Hashimoto.
Yeah. It's such a sensitive. Yeah, exactly. It was named after, Japanese doctor. Just, lots of names here, but people, they don't have much hope once they get put on this, because now it's just about taking levothyroxine or Synthroid or whatever. But like, look at this. Like, I just want to emphasize how much they screwed up this study. So now what did they do? They put them, 74 women with hypothyroidism, they put them on two treatments per week for 3 weeks. So one, Nino Mega Boss here is doing it every day, but they just do two. Okay. So, and then they do it for 3 weeks. Now, what do? Now it keeps getting worse. After 3 and 6 months, the group, so they test them now after only doing it for 2 to 3 weeks, and then they wait for 3 months, and then for 6 months, and then they test them. Let's see if it improved anything. So now
Wow.
the fact that this result is recorded shows you what if they had done this right. So after this time period, the group that received PBM, photobiomodulation, photo light, bio life modulation to change something, so to change life through the process of light therapy, showed better results. They had lower
What were the
thyroid.
results, though? I mean, what are the
Yeah,
numbers? Do
this,
you have that?
this, yeah, they had lower levels of thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH, thyroid antibodies, and so lower levels, and needed less TLT4, so they needed less supplementation or the drugs. They also saw improvements in body measurements like body mass index, waist to hip ratio,
Dude, I'm
hip to
seeing
waist
that. I'm
circumference.
seeing that on my dude. I'm like
Yeah,
my shorts are falling off my ass.
yeah, that's awesome,
I'm
bro.
serious, bro. Like I don't want to lose my ass though.
Oh, yeah. Well, you
It's
could you
scary.
could keep that. You could keep that by working it another
I know
way,
I
right?
do.
So,
But I'm in my hips, dude. Like I'm losing inches, man.
dude, and look, I'm like half Asian on my mom's side, so I never had a butt to begin with, so I got nothing to lose. So,
So this
dude,
is crazy. This is twice a week. That was twice a week for
yeah,
three
that was
weeks.
twice a week for 3 weeks, and then off it for 3 months. And so, just don't repeat that study, because you could see like a big improvement. But who wants like either a
Oh,
small
go
or a
for
big
broke, man.
improvement?
Go all the way.
Who wants to just do a 180? And that's the clinical study. So that's where where my team and I quoted directly from this. And then the finding here again was that it's restoring thyroid function. You could see that line there. So restorative, and it just keeps getting better when you keep going through all these studies. And then you'll see that with red light for thyroid dysfunction, here you've got, they're using 850, which is a near infrared. This could help thyroid
Well, hold on.
cells
So
recover.
these panels have different frequencies. You suggest to use all the frequencies, right? There's a button.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I'm using all. There's three frequencies, and you suggest to use all three, correct?
Well, yeah. Well, just to make it a little clearer, like when I'm saying, like, in the sense that when you're saying three, here you could just choose the selections here, but okay. So like if you've got
Bro,
nine.
like I just use all. When I see all three lights turn on, that's when I know it's good to go. Okay.
Well, yeah, exactly. But it's slight different configurations depending on what device you're on. But the point being, if you've got red, near infrared, and blue, there's no reason not to do all of them at the same time, as an example. But again, up to people. So check this out. Ready? So this study explored the effects of PBM on thyroid function. So the research found that PBM, this was the 850 nanometers, helped thyroid cells recover from damage caused by radiation. So this is even in severe cases.
Whoa.
So it was upregulating, downregulating these hormones, these toxin causing issues. PBM also helped restore cell growth and activity in thyroid cells after they were harmed by radiation. So like there are people watching this that don't even they haven't had the radiation and they're still wanting help. So imagine if it was harmed by radiation, and I'm talking about radioactive iodine. So that's the medical treatment. So because then it attaches to the thyroid, and then because it's radioactive, it just burns out the thyroid, and it's done intentionally to because they're like, well, let's get rid of the thyroid because it's causing you problems instead of just fixing it. And even when they've undertaken these procedures, they're using red light to regenerate the thyroid gland, which just gets better and better. The results suggested that PBM could be a useful treatment for thyroid problems like hypothyroidism caused by radiation, offering a new potential clinical application. And that's the clinical study there, which shows you that clinical finding. And I'll show you some more cool things that we'll dive into. So tinnitus, that's pretty impressive here. What
Tinnitus,
tinnitus is
yeah.
doing. So this
I saw
one
Ronnie
was,
Coleman, the Mr. Olympia, using red light therapy. I
oh yeah,
saw him,
nice.
or at least on his back, they were using it to heal something. I saw it on a documentary. They were showing like red light on his back. So, and you know what? I come to think of it, when I was boxing back in the day, they were selling these huge machines that were red light targeted laser therapy on injuries, and they were enormous machines.
Wow.
I mean, just to see what these panels are now, like how technology has just gotten to the point where you could pack this in your suitcase, is incredible to me.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Isn't that cool? And the LEDs, the light emitting diodes, people get confused because they think about poor quality ones that are flickering in the home. They damage your eyes. They're a problem. You should replace them with lights that don't flicker. Because these LEDs, light emitting diodes, don't flicker. They're constant, and so they're very healing. And I'm about to show you a ton of studies that are all on LED, like the ones I just referenced. They're on LEDs, like light emitting diodes. So you kind of got to go where the research is, and it's in the LEDs. Also in the lasers are expensive, they overheat, they're hard to use, they've got to be physician only. And so how do you keep like a
So, Jonathan, let
consistent
me ask
laser?
you something. Let me ask you. I'm just doing the front part of my body. Should I? Now, this is probably a no-brainer, but I should lay on my back, on my stomach, and let it hit
Yeah,
my back.
yeah, exactly, because then you get
Wow.
closer to
Yeah,
the
I guess I should
kidneys.
do
And
that.
yeah, and yeah, various, but look at the results you've achieved by just doing it on the front part of your body. So it's not that you may get like, it's not going to be like double, right? But it will be, because that light that's got into the front part of your body it's actually, for lack of a better
Circulating
word,
throughout your whole body,
yeah,
obviously.
it's through vibration, like through chromophores and how they receive frequencies, and then they translate in that same frequency, like a tuning fork. You hit one, and the other one at the same frequency will go off without it touching. So it actually sends the frequency through the body, because light is actually frequency. Anyway, super cool, right? But I'll show you this. Like, look at this. So anti-inflammatory effects for tinnitus, reducing inflammation in the auditory system, which might contribute to tinnitus, improving blood flow. Most things, when you understand them, because there's really, if you keep going in every challenge, just put in the name of the challenge you're fighting, and then put red light therapy, and then look at the studies, and they'll show you these key systems. It's always basically anti-inflammatory. It's always improving blood flow. It's always cellular repair and regeneration and mitochondria. And so it gives you these clues instead of kind of feeling like you're stuck. These work. And so cellular repair, supporting cellular function and repair processes in the auditory nerves and cochlea. Now look at the finding from this clinical study, which you could see here from Science Direct, and you can use the keywords there. 10 randomized control trials, 2 single-blinded, 8 double-blinded were included. One study reported 30% and 100% resolution of tinnitus of using diode and aluminum garnet lasers, respectively. One study reported that PBM, photobiomodulation, was effective in relieving tinnitus for up to 3 months. So think about the fact that even 3 months, and you say, yeah, but it didn't work because it came back in 3 months. You're not supposed to just do red light therapy once and then have it like go. Like there's a reason why there's a sunrise, sunset, red every day. So you should have some exposure. But even 3 months, it was
You know
effective
what I
over
think
that
of
period.
too? What about people living like in the UK or like in parts of America that it's kind of gloomy outside? It's always gray. This is
Yes.
probably really good therapy for depression
Oh,
because
there's no question.
seasonal depression, right? I mean, I would imagine.
Oh, seasonal affective disorder, red light therapy is almost like if you're not doing it, it's so sad. The clinical studies are so conclusive on
Bro, I
that.
feel good every day. I feel like so happy. Like my emotional, like I just feel better, man, with all the shit that's going on in my life. Like,
Wow.
dude, considering all things, but this, I'm doing okay, man. You
Think
know?
about Nino and the fact that he's a boxer. Think about how like most boxers have to channel their anger that's inside them. I mean, look, I'm not a boxer, but I did,
Well,
box a
no, you'd
little
be
bit.
surprised. Hold on, let me correct you on that. I'm going to
Yeah,
correct
yeah,
you on
thank
one
you.
thing
That's
here.
why I was
Let me
waiting for the
correct you on that.
correction.
Boxers, especially the world champion boxers, we actually learn how to control our emotions. We
Yeah,
learn how to be calm and cool under pressure. We're very, very, we're calculated killers. We're able to go in the ring and contain that aggression for the right second and then bring
yeah,
it back again and control it. It's about controlling your emotions in boxing.
yeah. There you go.
You're,
No, fair
you're, you're
enough.
a master. You're a Jedi if you're a boxer. People,
Yeah.
people think we're just like these Neanderthals fight. No, it's a high speed chess game. So there you
Yeah.
go. Anyway, go on.
No, no, thanks, bro. I appreciate that. And obviously there's some glitches in the matrix where someone goes and bites somebody's ear and
Yeah. Well, that's him getting out of the fight. That was him using that to get out of the fight.
yeah. Oh, I got
Yeah,
it.
that
Yeah, no,
was that was calculated too, by the way.
there you go.
That was
Okay.
his way of getting out of the fight, Mike Tyson. Anyway, all right, go
There
on.
you go. Okay, so check this out. So breast C word, the study investigated the anti-proliferative effects of LED. So notice again, you're looking at light emitting diode, red light, and this was 615, 630, 660, 730. So this is, I'll read it straight from the clinical study. Here it is on PubMed. So it's activating this autophagy, and this was against non-triple negative and triple negative and B C word origin cell lines. So anyway, you can read the MT. It's been shown by MTTS assay that at 24 hours post exposure time point, only LED red light with wavelength 660 nanometers possessed anti-proliferative effects against both cell lines with a 40% reduction of cell viability. So that's in the C word cells that it's had a
Wow.
40% reduction in what time period? Did you guys read that? 24 hours post exposure.
Jeez.
And then the morphology of LED 660 irradiated cells. So that's the irradiance, right? So it's not to be confused with radiation, but that it's light, right? So it was found flattened with enlarged cell size, typical characteristic of cell senescent, which means that these cells, these C word cells, are dying right in front of your eyes in a 24-hour period, and almost unbelievable. But look, there it is. It's an in vitro study on PubMed. This was the one that was a blockbuster here with cutaneous B cell L
What's going
word,
on with his
which
back?
well, it's the L word,
Okay, 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 okay.
which is this word. Yeah, which is
Oh
this word.
wow.
And this here shows the like these whopping rates of success here. Subsequent reports indicating an overall response of 69.5% across 24 studies up to 2017. A complete response rate varied from 69.9% in plaques to 72.2% in patches and tumors, etc., etc. But then you see these before and afters with utilizing this treatment. That's a PubMed image, and they're using a photosensitizer, which is a methyl form or this aminoleuvolinic acid. People I know about methylene blue, so that's kind of had its time in the sun, which is a photosensitizer. Arguably, should not be used outside of using it with red light therapy. It's kind of like not wise, in my opinion, because you need to activate it and at least you take it and go into the sunlight. If you're not doing that, it's kind of like it is a synthetic product and it is a fabric dye, so you got to be careful with it, and you should be using it very calculated for a specific purpose, not using it every day and not activating it. Here's the 60 to 90% effectiveness rate, depending on the lymphoma, the thickness of lesions, which is here's you see this clinical study here where it says that all patients achieve complete remission. This was a clinical study. It was a 2006 pilot study. I'll read it directly from the PubMed entry here. They had three involved in this. I'll just use the only three, so small. It was the indolent CBCL, which is the cutaneous B cell L word. And so then they use the 630 nanometer wavelength light emitted by a diode lamp at this fluence. All treated patients had complete remission, defined as a clinical and histologic complete absence of CBCL after a maximum of 2 photodynamic therapy sessions at a 1 week interval. That's just insane. Like what? 1 week and 2 sessions? No patient experienced particular side effects, and the pain was easily managed after the photodynamic therapy sessions. That's light therapy sessions when a photosensitizing agent is used, like curcumin, berberine, aminoleuvelinic acid, methylene blue, and several others. Artemisinin is another. And that was the one we shared before. This 𝗧𝗏 word is a big deal. And here you see the clinical finding here. Look at this, standalone, as a standalone treatment, PDT proved an alternative for palliative,
Yep.
that word and that word, in unresectable, which means a type of a C word that cannot perform surgery
Now,
on.
are the studies still ongoing with these panels, or are they? I mean,
Well, they are, but it's not to the it's the jury's not out, like it's concluded, right, in the sense, but they all, that's the nature of science, where you kind of have to say, well, we'll keep going, we'll keep
oh,
going, but
right,
even though
right,
it's
right.
just like,
What
when
about
was the
like the
Nobel Prize
long-term
won?
effects of this thing? Like I know this is fairly new technology, correct? So how do we
Yeah.
know the real long-term effects?
Oh yeah. Well, it's not new.
Okay.
The Nobel Prize was won in 1903.
1903. They've known
Niels
about this.
Finsen. Yes, yes. Yeah, well, yeah, Niels Finsen knew about it, and so did the people that gave him a Nobel Prize, and so did the news and everyone that read it at that time, and so did, anyway, how cool is that, right? And
Right.
that was not for, light therapies for parties. That was to reverse diseases, and the Nobel Prize was won around the reversal of lupus vulgaris. But and I'll just read this one, and I'll stop sharing this. So it achieved an overall response of 87%, and that was in the condition that we just talked about, and improved patient quality of life. And it's still considered to be new and a promising anti
Yep. Yep.
TURMOR strategy. And so you see this, and even with the bones,
Can I see that
you see
picture
the
again?
clinical studies.
The one you were just at?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it kind of gives you an idea of the
Yeah,
fact
yeah.
that it's penetrating through the rib cage is amazing, because it's getting
Why is
through
it
the
showing an
bone.
IV there?
Let's see. It's an infusion. I think that they're using, in this case, a photodynamic treatment where they're
Oh, they're
infusing.
showing the different methods to get this done here.
Well, yeah, yeah. There are times when they'll actually combine like a light that's going in through IV. That is done. But the cool thing about the fact that your skin is so transdermal, you don't have to puncture yourself. And the better thing to do is to do things at home, in my opinion. Generally speaking, I'm not even telling people what to do or not to do if you've got this or that diagnosis. But like, what you do on a daily basis is how you win or lose in life. What you do when you go to a clinic as a one-off is kind of like, it may give you a kick up the butt in the right direction. But yeah, so, and hence why, like, they'll do some of these kind of types of things, and they'll put maybe a photosensitizer through that IV, like methylene blue. They'll even do that via IV, but that can just be achieved and put through the bloodstream via oral or rectal consumption. So yeah, but anyway, that was a great one for using. And again, notice how I mentioned it can generate reactive oxygen species through photodynamic therapy, and hence why there's great studies on this, and it has these benefits, etc. But to answer your question on the downsides or any negative effects, well, there aren't any that have been recorded. Like the issues that you would look for are things like epilepsy, sensitivity to light, lupus, rosacea. These are conditions that are sensitive to light. But if you do the research on those conditions, has a tremendous response in all of those conditions. It's very effective in these conditions. But when you just look at the studies, look at the parameters, see how they performed, and then over time, considering it was a Hungarian physician in 1967, Dr. Andrei Mester, who like basically then became the father of red light therapy specifically. Again, it's been done for decades, and people have done well as you like look back at that data, and even over the last 2 decades, when it really moved into the LED, which allowed there to be a higher delivery of light into the cells, because they took basically a technology that was like a bulb that 90% of the power was going into the heat, and then it was absorbed by the water. So if anyone's got a far infrared sauna, it's not the same thing. It's not the optical window. It's not red or near infrared. Everything we just talked about, every single one of the things we talked about was all called red and near infrared. It's the optical window. It's
Mm.
received by the mitochondria. Because these LEDs were then able to take 90% of the power and turn it into light, then it had much higher power and ability to drive the processes in the body, feed the mitochondria, etc. But it's been tremendous, and I would love, and I like to see anything that says to the contrary, but we're seeing just amazing results all around. And here was a cool story, Nino, you'd love this one, where a woman that had like grabbed a device from us, and she went to she cares for this 93-year-old that has macular degeneration and dementia. And you can look up the studies on macular degeneration. It's amazing, like amazing results. Anyway, this woman has it over her eyes, and she did have her open her eyes for 2 minutes and then have them closed. And 21 minutes later, after she's applied the treatment, the elderly woman is watching the TV, and she says, "What's wrong with my TV?" And she says, "What do you mean?" And she says, "What's wrong with my TV?" Remember, she got dementia. "Something's wrong with my TV. Who changed it? What happened to it?" And she says, "Well, tell me what you're seeing." She says, "I can read what it says on the TV, and I can see the
Wow.
colors."
Wow.
Yeah, it was so moving. And then later she says, "What's wrong with my feet? What changed with my feet? What happened?" She's got
My mom's
neuropathy.
circulation has gotten way better, bro.
Oh, bro, how
She was
awesome is
getting
that?
blood clots in her legs, and now it's like I'm telling you, bro. I put that thing right on her legs.
Bro, you're gonna make me emotional. This is just awesome, man. Like, that's why we do this, and that's why
Yeah.
like we work hard on all these things, man. Like, it's not easy, like doing all these types of things and like putting your head out of the foxhole. It's just like seeing lives change. It's worth it, man. Like, it's
Yeah.
so worth it. We see these things. This woman, she had no pain in her feet for the first time in forever, and she just has a new lease on life. She's 93. Like, people don't care anymore when people get old, like,
They don't, man.
unless,
I'm witnessing this firsthand.
yeah,
Hey, the
it's
nurses
like
are. I have one or two nurses that are awesome, but out of 10, that just don't care. They don't
they
care,
think that
man.
you're
They're just,
valueless when you get to that age, but you're
yeah,
not. You're of infinite value to God, and you're of infinite value to anyone
yeah.
that believes anything that
I,
is
I've
us.
never
True.
seen that part of humanity like I'm seeing it now, where people are just, you really learn a lot about a person on how they treat elderly people, man.
Wow.
And I mean, people that I thought that would never do such a thing, the way they dismiss and mistreat my parents when I'm not around, I hear about it and I handle it when I see them. But bro, it's rampant. Like
Wow.
lots of healthcare workers are like that,
Wow.
and I don't even know why they're in the business because it's sad. Like the way the elderly are treated is horrific, dude.
Bro, so glad you say that. And what we're doing is giving the people the opportunity to have a new lease on life. And people should be all, you shouldn't just be thinking about this for yourself when you hear about this. We've said, like, we were joking around. I think you came up with it, share the light. And because when you know about this and you have benefits for yourself, like, you put the oxygen mask on yourself first. And I do agree with that. Not the other kind of mask, but
Yeah,
the
yeah,
oxygen mask.
yeah,
And then you go, not that uniform of the New World
yeah.
Order, not that mask. But what you do is you put the oxygen mask on others. It's what you think about it, you're on the plane. You don't just put it on yourself. You put it on yourself, then you go put it on everyone else. Like,
Right.
why do we let these things happen to us? Like, my grandma made it to 98 because
Yeah.
of this, and she was told like 5 or 6 years before that she wouldn't make it another week, and we gave her another great 5 years of life, and we got to reap the benefit of that. I was the one that got the blessing of being able to be with her and be loved by her, and it made it so much easier to say goodbye because I had those moments with her, because we kind of got that warning, and then it was just like, hug her close every time you see her. You always know this could be the last. And I'm out here in America, and so, but we
That's how I am
gave
with
her
my
back
parents
that
right
quality of
now.
life. Oh, bro.
Yeah, both of them.
Bro,
So
you know it. And then what you're doing is you're doing that, and and thank God, because the calls and the conversations we've had outside of this show where I'm like, Nino, do it, do this, do
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah.
Sometimes I'm overwhelming you, but
No, 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 no,
yeah, yeah. And
no.
then, but
It's
you did it. No, props to you. You did it, and you're helping them, and then you're giving them that quality of life, and they deserve that. They raised you, they gave life to you, and we're forgetting about our parents. And I think about this 93-year-old. She has a new lease on life. She's picking up the shampoo bottles and saying, "I can read everything it's saying," and she's
that's
telling everyone
insane.
about it. She's like, "I don't have pain in my body anymore,
Well,
and
dude,
I
I'm
can
gonna
read
start
things."
opening my eyes under there. I've been closing with the eye things, man, the goggles. So
Yeah,
I'm
three
gonna
minutes in the morning,
okay.
and then, yeah,
Yeah, because it
in the
doesn't
morning.
hurt. I've opened my eyes for a second, but I'm like, well, it's not like a tanning bed.
No,
You
no.
can
It's
see everything just fine. Okay, so I'm gonna give it a shot.
yeah,
Jonathan,
exactly.
I'm gonna go right
And
now. Believe it or not, I'm gonna
yeah.
go sit under there for a little bit
Yeah,
before
exactly.
one.
And remember, Nita, it's going to charge those mitochondria in your brain, those hundreds
Okay.
of thousands of mitochondria in those cells. So the reason why people could do it is not just because to improve eyesight, but it's to recalibrate everything. Guess what helps regulate the thyroid? The cerebellum, right? So
Yeah, of
people
course.
like think about it. You've got like it's like a powerhouse. Like think about why did God put so many mitochondria in the cerebellum cells? And why did he put the eyes here so they could receive the light and then basically use
Oh, it
it to
makes sense.
transmit it through the body? How cool is that?
Yeah, it makes
No one's
complete
talking about
sense.
it. And then people get limitless energy. I got a text yesterday and he's like, he said, now because I opened my eyes there, I've got limitless energy. It's crazy. Like, how
So
did this
that's
just
how like
change?
the mitochondria gets the light is through the eyes. Boom.
Yeah.
It's like a charging station.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, I've
These are
never thought
solar
about that.
panels. You look through them, but they're actually solar panels. It goes both ways.
Wow. That's
Your
wild,
whole
bro. I've never heard that before.
your whole skin is solar panels, but your eyes are especially solar panels. And the reason why
Wow.
God made you unique, your whole body is translucent. It's designed for the absorption of light from head to toe, every part of your body. And basically, this kind of links people back to the Garden of Eden because any part of your body that doesn't get exposed to light is the biggest risk for the C word. That's
Yeah,
the
you're
real
right.
truth. And so then those are the areas that you can then get in front of with these devices and get it over the prostate. I didn't share the study of
Man, it makes
50,
you think, right, bro? How they
50%
want
go
how
into
they
remission.
it makes you think, right, about you because we all know what happened in 2020 and what that was really about.
Yeah.
Now think about like skin, the stuff you put on your skin,
Yeah.
sunscreen, like
Yeah.
I don't want to talk too much about it, but think
Yeah.
about
It's like,
that. What was really behind that?
there you go. Yeah. Sun, BLOCK, which means
Sun blocker.
what are
Yeah.
you doing? And because that's the antidote. Like that's the antidote.
Golly,
And
man.
block, hide,
And why are there planes up there right now spraying? I mean, we can get into this on another podcast on
yeah.
.tv, but you know
And
what I'm
what,
saying? Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
damn. All
And
right,
then the
Jonathan.
movies come out and there's certain like vampires they can't get exposed to sunlight and so they
Yeah.
just condition you like
Everything.
run from the sun like just your little subliminals. I don't know if that's just an accident or not, but I just
I don't think
don't
anything's
buy
an
into the
accident.
propaganda that you're not supposed to be in the light. But if you are in the light during the middle of the day, that you got to run for cover at some point. You can't be there all day and
You don't get
then
a sunburn, but still,
yeah.
I
In
mean,
the morning and the evenings where it's red, where you can actually look at the sun, you can sun gaze, and everyone does it. Nobody has issues, right? To
right.
look at it while it's setting, and that's when it's red. And then what you do is with the device, you're able to get naked in front of it, and you can put it on all the areas that don't even get exposed when you're in those settings. And the power is so much greater. It is like literally, I don't know what the exact number is. You could test it with the radiance meters, but you see these results, and they're so shocking in such short periods of time because the power is so much greater. It's like you're right up against it, and
Wow.
that's why it's so good. And so yeah, anyway, it's a game changer, man.
No, it is a game changer. All right, folks, hit the link below. Use code Nino, baby. Nino. What is it? What is the discount for Nino?
Yeah, so it'll give you an additional 10% off. So we got some great discounts there on the page, and you can like get a free stand there, or free belt and supplements and great things there. And then when you add the code, that'll drop an additional 10% off the price. And the cool thing is that again, remember the calculations. Look at all the categories of all the different things that are costing money or will cost money if you don't get them in check. And then look at how that will like back out and how you could save a ton of money, and think about what that costs over the course
Oh,
of
there it is right there.
a few months,
Those are the
and a few
frequencies,
years.
right?
Yeah, there's frequencies, and so like you take something for fat loss or burn weight, cellulite reduction, metabolism, and by the way as well, you guys, you can get these things on payment plans as well, so you can just pay that 20, 30, 50
Nice. I'm
dollars a
sure
month
they
or
were
whatever.
wondering about that.
Yeah, it just helps, right? So it's in like, and then you could substitute something that's costing you more, and so then it actually costs you nothing. So just think about that, or just if people pay in full, then they can think about what it's costing them over 5 years, and then you go, oh wow, this is only costing me a few dollars a month, or whatever it is. You just do the math on it, and you realize that it works. And these devices have a 3-year warranty and a 50,000 rated lifespan hour account, which is like it's like 80, 100 years if you and your family is using it. It's like
Jeez.
super high, like
Wow.
quality. People will pick it up and see it. So these frequencies, look at how many different conditions you can like kind of go after: weight loss, fat burning, cellulite reduction. These frequencies are all proven for these conditions, and these are all the frequencies in the devices that people are ordering there on the page at myredlight.com using the code Nino. So anti-aging acne, scars, rosacea, hair growth, like all these things like cost in different categories, right? Sun damage, wrinkles, fine lines, droopy eyelids, under eye circles, broken capillaries, pain relief, wound healing, injury healing, oral health, muscle building, athletic performance, post recovery workout, mental stamina, cognitive performance. See, some score, some don't, but so that's the key of having a multi spectrum device of like, and that's why we're the only ones that have the 9 spectrums. Like people don't have them, and again, that's why it's also worth going, okay, is it going to take me a little bit of time to get it? Yes. And so we've got all that on the page, so we'll give you all the updates and notifications, but those are accurate prediction, those are accurate outcomes, so you can just understand that. But then everything, and as I mentioned, everything is being fulfilled, and from the time of when this is released, and I gave you those exact numbers, but it's worth it because everything is so it's so sought after, because look at what you've got. Like this is, people don't have these devices, and
Right.
even the clinics don't have these. And so
I
anyway,
see the depression, anxiety one again.
yeah, this one here, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Why?
And
Well,
so
I wonder
these
why
wavelengths,
630 works, but the 660 doesn't.
yeah, I know, right?
It's
But
interesting.
no, but I wouldn't say that it doesn't work. I would say that there, in some of these cases, it's just that the study has been done on that wavelength. So
Okay.
it would probably work at 660, but there are cases where it doesn't. And like I showed in the breast C word study, where it was only 1 out of the 4 that worked. So all I can say is the study says that this one works. Probably the other ones work. Maybe they don't, but here's the ones that do. And so yeah, tinnitus, arthritis, multiple sclerosis, and then here you go, stem cell
Stem
regeneration,
cell
Parkinson's
regeneration.
disease,
Wow.
hypertension, liver function, breast C word. This one is cool. If you look at asthenozoospermia for sperm mobility, it's shocking,
Wow.
man. It's almost unbelievable the results that people get in these studies, and that were infertile. And you think about all the people that are struggling, not even thinking about this: herpes, cold sores, genital simplexes, eye health. These are ones that are hitting in your eyeball, and acne, circadian rhythm regulation, skin circadian rhythm regulation, and skin rejuvenation, wound healing, on autophagy. So it gives you some key
That's
clues there.
insanity, man.
Yeah. So anyway, so it's like, it takes, a few weeks to get out to you, but you know what? It's going to be,
Well
it's
worth it,
amazing.
man. It's well
Yeah.
worth it. I'm definitely benefiting from it now. So,
Yeah.
Jonathan,
And then,
thank you.
and awesome.
What, you got
Welcome.
to
And
say something
then,
else? What else?
oh no, I was just going to say, and then you're at the front of the queue, and that's what's important. Like, so, grab this, because when you're listening to this, you end up like, okay, I'm grabbing it. And so, be at the front of the line and go like, yeah, I want this for me and my family. It's going to be so beneficial. And we'll support you with this. We do like calls often every week, helping people like troubleshoot, understand how to do things. And they come up with
Well, I mean,
questions
all
and
I
how
do
they
is
want
just
help.
lay in front of it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Sorry,
And then
it's
get the
really that
benefits.
simple. It's proof.
Exactly. Sometimes
So,
people need like just moral support as well, because they're helping loved ones and that
oh,
type
I
of
got
thing.
you.
And
Okay.
so yeah,
All right. I got you.
yeah, yeah, that's
That
cool.
makes sense, actually. All right,
Yeah,
Jonathan, I appreciate
yeah.
you coming on, my man.
Appreciate
Hit
you.
the link down below. Use the code Nino, folks.
I'll go straight to
Peace.
myredlight.com and go, Nino. Cheers.